Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with another product review. And what I'm looking at is King Robert II Blended Scotch Whiskey. We did an examination on Ron Ontario's channel of Louisiana Beer Reviews not too long ago, so go check that out. Also, for some really good information about this product and this brand, go check out his solo review on Louisiana Beer Reviews channel. He does a much better job than I'm going to. I really don't know much about this brand. I do know that the King Robert II line, they have several other products. It's kind of like Aristocrat or Taka. They have an entire line of products. They're not just makers of whiskey. So it says here on the label, distilled, blended, and bottled in Scotland. Ian MacLeod Distillers Limited, Scotland. And it is imported by ImpEx Beverages, Inc., South San Francisco, California. This is a 750 ml bottle, which cost me $9.99, and it is glass. Thank goodness. And this is a 80 proof product, so 40% alcohol by volume. It says here on the back of the label, this unique blend contains only the finest single malt and grain Scotch whiskies, long aged in oak casks for many years before being blended and bottled in Scotland. The result is a whiskey of top quality which is renowned throughout the world. So many years, at least 3, maybe more. The world will never know, I guess. So anyway, let's give it a pour here, see what we're looking at. You know, you have your upper echelon premium stuff, your middle of the road stuff, and your budget stuff. This is obviously in that budget category. $9.99 for a 750 ml bottle. So, looks nice. It's actually a deep amber color. You've got, you don't really have, well, okay, alcohol legs are starting to go down there. It kind of forms like an alcohol ring, and then you start to slowly get those alcohol legs. So the color is nice. It's very clear. Of course, there's nothing floating around in here. I do find that it's important to say that because there are some cheap whiskeys that have like little pieces in it. I don't know. It's weird, but that's not very common. I wouldn't recommend buying anything that has noticeable sediment in it or floaties, whatever you want to call them. All right. Very nice, deep amber appearance. Some nice alcohol legs going down the glass now. Let's get an aroma on it. Corn. A light peat smokiness on the aroma. A little bit of a spicy note. Maybe some rye spice coming from the barrels. Or not, the barrels that they're aged in. A grain presence. Barley, corn. There's a sweetness to it on the aroma, almost a caramel note. Not really picking up on any of the wood on the aroma. However, I have tasted this already. Like I said, we did an examination on Louisiana Beer Reviews, Ron Ontario's channel. I think the oak presence will come through a little bit on the palate, but that's pretty much what I'm getting with the aroma. So let's go ahead and get into it. Cheers, guys. All right. Nice peat, smokiness, earthy qualities to this one right up front. That corn note that I was getting on the aroma doesn't really follow through too much on the palate. There is a grain component on the palate though, but I think it's more of a barley note than a corn note. There's a definite spiciness with this one, like a rye spice note, which is nice, albeit unexpected. Um, the alcohol presence is relatively low with this. It's not really spirit driven, which is nice for a $9.99 budget blended scotch like this. A lot of times you do get a lot of alcohol presence. This one has a lot of character though. The alcohol kind of takes a back seat to the peat smoke. There's a little caramel sweetness. The what else? The wood is coming through a little bit on the palate. It wasn't really noticeable on the aroma, but there's a definite wood note, like an oak presence on the aroma. And then on the back end, in the finish, there is that spicy note, like that rye spice note that I'm picking up on. Yeah, really not too much alcohol in the finish. There is a little bit of warming, obviously, as it goes down the throat. I don't really think it's too lingering. There is a little bit of that peat smokiness that kind of stays with you a little bit, but not for too long. It's not a super lingering finish that you get with some single malt scotches, some really heavily charred, um, or some bourbons that are aged in, like, alligator char barrels. You're not getting like a super lingering, bold like finish that's going to keep you from wanting to continue to sip on this regularly. It is pretty sippable, not necessarily sessionable like with a beer, but it's very sippable. You could put this on ice and sip on it. It would kind of open up a little bit. You get some nice qualities as you let it sit out. Even without adding ice or anything like that, water, it does open up a little bit more. The longer it sits, you pick up on more of the wood presence. The rye spice, excuse me, starts to come through a little bit more. The peat starts to almost the peat smoky qualities kind of dissipate a little bit the longer it sits out, and you start picking up on more of the oak, which is it's nice. I like the wood presence with Scotch whiskeys. Um, I'm a big bourbon drinker, so I love wood. I love the charred oak, the wood presence. You do get oak with this. It's not really a heavily charred or like a oak presence that you get with bourbon, but there's definitely a wood note in there. That caramel sweetness is nice. Maybe some light vanilla and toffee notes as well. The rye spice though is really coming through on the finish. Like I said, it's not really alcohol driven, spirit driven. Um, and the corn that I was picking up initially on the aroma is not really coming into play on the palate or in the finish. It's very enjoyable. $9.99 for a 750ml bottle. Like I said, if you can find it, it's not super popular, at least in my area. I know Ron had a hard time. Well, I know it's not available in Louisiana either, but it might be available in your area. If you ever see it, I highly recommend that you check it out if you're into Scotch whiskeys or if you're looking to get into Scotch whiskeys. This would be a good introduction because it's pretty mellow. There's nothing too strong about it, overly bold. It's kind of got all the flavors of a good Scotch, but not one flavor in particular is overriding the other. It's well balanced. It's mellow. It's easy drinking. It's not super spirit driven. It's got a nice peat component, a nice wood component, a little bit of sweetness like caramel, toffee, vanilla. And then there's a little bit of that rye spicy note that I'm getting with this one that I didn't pick up with the 100 Pipers. I didn't pick up with the Clan McGregor. I didn't pick up with any really of the budget blended Scotch whiskeys that I've had so far. So this one is unique in that sense because it does offer that little something extra, that rye spice note that I wasn't getting with the other ones. So I think this is probably in the B plus to A minus range. I don't really feel comfortable giving a specific numerical rating for whiskeys or spirits in general, just because I haven't had as many. I'm just kind of getting started with this type of stuff. I've been drinking beer for many, many years, so I definitely feel comfortable giving specific ratings for those. But for this product, I'm going to say between a B plus, A minus, somewhere in there. It is a budget brand, so don't expect too much complexity or anything like that. But it is very well balanced. It is very good for what it is, and it's definitely got enough merit, enough going for it to be able to sip on it neat. You don't necessarily have to mix this, but it would be good mixed with a little ginger ale, lemon lime, or ginger ale with a little lemon wedge in there, something like that. But I think it's perfect just the way it is as a sipper. Be great on the rocks as well, kind of open up a little bit more of those flavors, maybe get some more of that rye coming through if you pour it over ice. But it's a really good product. $9.99 for 750 ml bottle. Like I said, probably the third time I've said that already. But there is something to be said about a $9.99 product that has this much going for it. It's not spirit driven. It has a lot of character, and it is very well made. I would highly recommend it. So if you ever see the King Robert II blended Scotch whiskey, I highly recommend that you go out and try it. I don't really think you'll be disappointed if you're into blended Scotch whiskeys. I think this is a great one to go for. And it's cheap, so even if you don't like it, you're really not out too much money. So that'll do it for this product review, guys. I hope you're all having a great day. And until next time, everybody, cheers.